Good evening. Today was a long day, 12 hours essentially between leaving the hotel and getting back to the hotel. All right, a few revelations. Oh wait, I'll talk about the day first and then I'll talk about revelations. And not from the Bible, although anyways. I lost my train of thought. Good grief, I should just start this video over. Okay, so my tour today was awesome. It didn't involve any trains except I saw the Flom Railway, but my tour wasn't on a train. It was on this fancy Mercedes minibus thing and then a really long boat ride through Fjords, which was really cool and beautiful. So tons of pictures and videos, met a nice family, specifically Melissa and her mom, and then her brother and his wife. So that was the group that I really talked to. I talked to a few of the other couples as well, but I didn't really get their names or get to know them very much, but the family was really sweet. So it was nice to visit with them. Yeah, everything else about the tour will be in all the other little videos and pictures and that kind of stuff that I did. So learned a few cool things. We drove through the town of Voss, which is known for Voss water, that fancy water that everybody pays far too much, in my opinion, for. And the water doesn't even come from Voss. That's just a marketing gimmicky thing. According to the guide, the water does come from Norway, but it's from the very southern tip of Norway, Christian something or other. And Voss just looked nicer on the bottle and they use it for marketing purposes. But we did stop there and I got a few pictures at the lake that's in the town of Voss, so that was beautiful. Mission Impossible movies. I saw the mountain next to the glacier where they filmed Tom Cruise for the Mission Impossible movies. Let's see, what else? Went to a few different little towns along the way. Oh my gosh, Norway is just beautiful. It's beautiful here. There's a few similarities to Sweden as far as the language and some of the food and such, but the landscape is different. Sweden's very flat, Norway's very lumpy, at least the parts that I've seen. So there's a lot of different vegetation. It's very rocky, lots and lots and lots of water, rivers and fjords, and I mean, it's just gorgeous. So today was a really good day in that regard. Okay, so 4 epiphanies, or revelations, as I said. I'm not ready to go home quite yet, so I'm glad my trip isn't over yet, but I think I'm sort of kind of good being done with most of the touristy stuff. I switched my last couple days. I'm adding 2 days to London and cutting Brussels a little bit short. I want to do the tours that I have remaining booked. So I have a couple in Amsterdam. I'm going to Van Gogh Museum. I'm doing a bike tour in Amsterdam, and then I'm doing a day trip to Rotterdam and something else, The Hague, I think. And then in Brussels, I'm doing a beer, waffles, and chocolate tour, and then a day trip to the fairy tale cities. But I was supposed to have 2 extra days in Brussels. And even though I'm sure I'd love it, kind of like I had those open days when I went to Paris and Rome where I would just wander about. And I'm sure I could find that to do, but I'm kind of all random city wandered about out, if that makes sense. I know I'd enjoy it, but I just no longer feel the need to wander cities aimlessly. I think I've done enough of that. I've seen all of these beautiful cities and I still want to do these tours and I still want to appreciate them, but I'm not having this longing to wander by myself through towns. So I'm going to add a couple days to London and spend that time with my cousin. She has some friends in town too. And maybe we'll just veg and wander London, and if my cousin's working, then I will do some aimless, touristy stuff, maybe find some castles to check out and stuff. But the good thing about London and surrounding area will be I can do some touristy stuff, but then I get to come home every day to be with someone in my family. And that's kind of what I really realized being in Sweden for a few weeks. That's what's making me happy right now. So I'm looking forward to that time. So trying to balance that, be honest about my feelings and what's going through my head. Anyways, Norway's beautiful. I had a really great day. Okay, I went to put the video together and realized I left out so much stuff. So here's supplemental Annika blabbering. I just want to remember the names of the things I saw. So first we stopped at a place called Tvindefossen, which means waterfall. So you'll see the big, massive waterfall. That's the first place that we stopped. Then we stopped, then there was the kerfuffle, which you'll see in the video. I took pictures of the kerfuffle with the traffic jam on the single lane, almost one-way road to it sounds like Stegosaurus, Stegastein Lookout, viewpoint, something or other. And that was amazing, looking down at Nørøyfjorden, which is the giant fjord that we took the boat ride on, that took us from Flom to Gudvangen, which were the two towns at the lower tips of this V kind of shaped fjord area. 2-hour boat ride. The thing I wanted to mention was, after spending a few weeks in Sweden with my family who knew Daniel, and you know, we celebrated his birthday, or at least commemorated it, and then celebrated my birthday. I wasn't really forced on a daily basis to process my initial feelings on the journey and the trip and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if, I don't want to say I was out of practice, but I was out of practice meeting new people. And so when I started to talk to Melissa at the, let's see, where were we? We were in, now I can't remember if it was after the lookout. It must have been in Flom. We were standing on a bridge and we knew we were on the same group, and we started talking. We took a couple of pictures for each other. And I, you know, she saw my necklace, and I mentioned to her that it was Daniel's fingerprint. And so I shared my story of losing my brother and my mom's dementia / Alzheimer's, only to find that Melissa also lost a brother many years ago, but still a loss of a brother. And her dad is suffering with dementia related to Parkinson's. So just to connect with someone on that level, kind of on my first big tour back to this trip mentality and away from my family, was really impactful. It touched my heart. We talked about butterflies. She says her mom has the same sort of significance with dragonflies. And so it was really cool to talk to someone who I have so much in common. So we did share contact info, and I'm really grateful having met the lovely Melissa. So that's, just wanted to add that to this video. Okay, I had to document this fun hair before it rains or blows wind or something. Thank you, Christina Riley, cousin, for braiding me 2 days ago and giving me 2 full days where I didn't have to do anything with my hair, and it's so cute. Good morning, good morning. Super speedy breakfast, because I didn't get up early enough to actually sit and relax for breakfast before having to leave to meet my tour group or whatever it is over here in the harbor, I think is what it would be referred to as. So heading over now. Really excited for this one. It's a little bit cloudy, but it just doesn't look like rain clouds quite yet. So crossing my fingers. I love it when we have these tours on these fancy like mini bus thingies with chargers and cozy seats and skylights and big windows. So fun. All right, so we drove for about an hour north from Bergen. I fell asleep on the bus. We just stopped here in this little cafe to use the restrooms and get a coffee. Kind of cool terrain here. The guide was talking about how Sweden's pretty flat. Norway is mostly rocks, and so building roads and highways here is a lot of work. Over 1,100 tunnels, and during our tour today we'll be going through 44 of them. So I'm not sure how many we're through because I fell asleep. So we had gone through 7 by the time I remember him talking. Oh my word. This is so beautiful. The water is so calm. You can see the reflection of everything, these hilltops in this little town. Oh my gosh, it's incredibly beautiful.
Our childhoods, listening to our mums and dads and grandparents telling us stories from when they were kids. Actually, was in 180 years ago, 2 men traveled the Norwegian countryside. Peter Christian Asbjørnsen and Jørgen Moe wrote down all these old stories about trolls.
All right, I'm in a place called Gunvengen, and I've been told that I'm assuming it's that one, looks more like a people ferry. Starts out in Flam, which is where we are headed. So we'll get on the boat there, and then it ends here. But they gave us about 20 minutes here at this stop to just kind of explore a little bit. Then we'll be driving to Flam, where we'll get a nice longer break, and then we'll take the boat ride, which is 2 hours long, so that should be nice. There's some waterfalls up here. It's a beautiful little town in the middle of this mountain valley. It's a beautiful spot. Crystal clear water. Not sure how deep it is. Super pretty though. Oh, I'd love to kayak here. There's a bunch of people out there kayaking.
Les enfants.
Did you get all your shots up there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you don't need this one?
No, that's okay.
Okay.
I'm starting to get hungry now.
All this talk about lunch.
Yeah.
Okay, I went with the reindeer hot dog. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so quite the numerous kerfuffles. We are in Flom, spelled F-L-A with a circle over it, M. And cute little town. It's where cruise ships stop coming through the fjords. We've had a couple of kerfuffles, but nothing too major. Well, we had the kerfuffles and then they ended up not being too major. First, there was a rock slide on one side of the tunnel, which closed the tunnel. Luckily, we were doing some other stops before we got to that spot. And gratefully, by the time we got there, it was cleared. Second one, going up to the Steg something or other is a viewing point for one of the biggest fjords areas. I don't know if we can see it from here. Hold on, where am I? The ship's right there, so it is... Okay, I'm not sure you can see it from here. Anyways, the road essentially should be called a one-way road, but traffic goes both directions with just these little bump outs for cars to kind of go around each other. But you have to stop and wait for all the traffic coming the other way, and then it switches to going the other direction. Well, some people who had absolutely no business driving up there, you know, people who aren't bus drivers or professional drivers who just rent a camper and then try to drive up this road without the understanding of the switchbacks and how narrow it is. So they had blocked the whole road. Our driver and multiple others had to get out and park, pretty much stopping dead in the road to help these couple of camper drivers navigate around. Then they had to walk down the hill and tell people who were coming the other direction that they needed to just figure out how to turn around in one of the spots and wait a couple hours before they came back up because it was so bad and crowded. So we ended up sitting there for about a half an hour. Problem is, we have our boat tickets already purchased for a departure of 3 o'clock. And so if we had been stuck for much longer, we wouldn't have made it back to the base here where the cruise ships meet in order to get on our boat to do the 2-hour boat ride. So anyways, long story short, it all worked out. A little bit stressful, but really grateful. And I'm just wandering about for a few minutes before we get on the boat. And it's really beautiful here. Okay, so I forgot to give my review of the reindeer hot dog. It was awful. I ate it and I finished it, and I'm proud of myself for being brave and trying new things, but I think having grown accustomed or been reminded of the gloriousness of Swedish korv of all varieties. Prinskorv, Farligkorv, Varmkorv, all the good Swedish korvs, sausages. It was just terrible. It had the wrong texture, the flavor was awful. I ate it all because I don't know when I'm gonna get to eat again. But oh my goodness. Thank goodness I got some French fries too. And happy to find that the ketchup here in Norway is good ketchup, not the weird stuff they had in Denmark. Okay, so it started raining. And there are still spots downstairs for sitting, but it's inside and I just feel like it's going to hinder my view. But there's no spots for sitting on these upper deck levels, and it's a 2-hour boat ride. So trying to figure out what the best option is for this journey. All right, we are off. Moving ever so slightly out, about 5 minutes behind schedule. Farewell to Flom. All right, so we just did a full 360 in this wee little bit for us to now take off past that cruise ship to head on out to sea. Some pretty waterfalls you can see coming down.
There you go.
And when it rains harder, I'm sure they get more intense up there, like the ones that I saw earlier. Looks totally different now with the rain than it did like a half an hour ago when it was sunny. Farewell, boom. Alright, it is raining pretty hard. At the moment I'm good, I have my raincoat on and I have an umbrella. But the bottom half of my legs are getting wet because the wind is blowing. And my sneakers already feel kind of soaked. So we'll see how much longer I can tolerate being outside. Hi! This is Melissa, and she is my new friend from
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. So just wanted to introduce her and show you the beautiful background. And so far so good on this beautiful boat ride, even through the rain.
No, I walked upstairs and then downstairs. Yeah, I took a picture of it downstairs.
Okay, just got off the minibus for the tour. It was a really good tour. Stig, our tour guide, was lovely, and I met some nice people, and yeah, so good day all in all. Fell asleep for a few minutes, tried to stay awake because I don't sleep well at night if I nap, so I tried to stay awake, but it's not easy. I am a bus, plane, train sleeper. Unfortunately, not a sleep when it's reasonable in your bed sleeper. So there it is.